welcome everybody. Welcome to my first show, An Evening with Robert here, and let me explain why am I doing this. A lot of people have asked me that, and I said, well, I've been asked a lot, in the past, to do different interviews, and I've done quite a few, and it's just like we have a lot of guests. We have a show that we do as Late Night with Rob and Chris. Of course, I'm the host on there, and Chris is the host as well. And, we have different guests that come on our show from time to time, and we bring them on there, and, we have a real good time. We make it fun. And, so I wanted to bring something on a serious note, and I wanted to get some people in here. And my first guest, as a matter of fact, is really like, this is kind of like a trade-off, I think. We were her first radio station that she's ever been on, and now she's actually my first guest on my brand new show. So I'd like to introduce to you right now country music artist Christy Baker. How you doing there, Christy?
Hi.
So here we are. So
yeah, I'm pretty excited to be on the first show here. Kind of wondering what that secret question is you've been telling everybody that's coming up, but you wouldn't tell me, so I give up.
Well, are you really that nervous about that?
I'm just curious about that secret question.
Oh, wow. Anyway, we've been friends for quite a while now, and we've really developed a really close relationship. When I first met you, you're actually, let's just tell the story how we got a hold of you. And our PR specialist, Brenda, God bless her, man, she just come across, she says, hey, we've got this one girl, her name is Christy Baker.
Yeah, it was very funny because I was just trying to network myself, and I was networking on Facebook, and I was just adding people to, and the music wasn't anywhere near what it is now, but like it was raw and unmastered and all that stuff, but I was just contacting people with it, and I ran across her, and it said she worked at a supermarket, so automatically I did not know that she was affiliated with the radio. I did find people that were with radio, but none of those had got back to me, nor did I share it as much. But for some reason, I was just going through people, and I was just sharing, just maybe 4 or 5, and I happened to run across Brenda, and as soon as I sent the music, it wasn't very shortly after that she sent me a link to the radio station, and I was like, oh my gosh. And she said she was PR and all this stuff.
Right.
Then, we got to talking, and it wasn't right away that she played the stuff, and I was like, she had promised she was going to give it to you, and she's like, this is very good. I really, really like this. And she was very kind, very sweet to me.
Right.
I could not have done this without her. She boosted my confidence up too. And so first time on air with you guys, it probably took about 4 months or so to get through, because y'all were really booked up.
Right.
And Noah had come on and all that stuff. And then one day I was listening to Noah, and she said, okay, you're booked for January the 15th of last year.
That's right.
And so on 2013. So last year in 2013 was my first time in January that I was on your show, and first radio ever. After that, I will tell you that some people from New York called me, like Redneck and Gator from New York. They called me. They had seen me on Facebook, and they said, you're the hardest person to get a hold of. So I had to call you.
Right,
you never answer my call. You never answer any of my messages. I've been trying to get a hold of you so much that I decided to call you. So I got a call directly from WRCR 1300 AM New York. And then I was supposed to call in. It was funny because I was supposed to call in with that. And instead of Gator being there, which is the one that I spoke to, They didn't even know I was calling in. He had told me to call in, but he had a family emergency and couldn't be there.
Right.
So when I called in, it was so funny because the guy's like, Redneck was like, oh, I found this talent and he's on air, and Gator had to call me and call into the radio
right.
because he was teasing him the whole time.
Right.
He said, well, if Gator called you, you must not be any good, you know. He was picking on him so bad. So he took all, Redneck was teasing him, trying to take all the credit for the getting me on the show. And so he had to call in. That was really funny. I was very nervous. And then they played Crank It or Yank It.
Yeah.
I was really nervous about that because I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to yank it. And they kept me, and they still play me on there today. So you guys are the boost for the career. Y'all started peaking the y'all started it.
So let's step back a little bit. I've heard your story quite a bit, and let's take a trip down that memory lane, and let's how where you came from, your parents, how you got to where you are today.
Okay. I was born in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and it's at Albemarle Hospital, and raised by my parents, Larry and Dixie Harrell, and everybody always wants to know my age. You know, I don't give that out, but we'll skip that one. But after that, growing up, we didn't have a lot. My dad went to college at night to become an electrician. So, and they always supported. It seems like they always supported my dad probably more. My dad supported the music a lot, but he was always hard on me. He was like, "You've got to sing louder," and all that. But mostly, I can remember like my parents had bought me this record player. It had like Elvis Presley, and it was some old records they had, and they put it on. I used to listen to it over and over, and just sing to it up in the attic. And I just kind of got lost in the music. I always loved to like express myself with the music and make people smile with it. And let's see. What can I tell you that's pretty exciting? I'm trying to think.
Well,
it's harder to tell your life story.
I know, but look, let's I mean, when you got into basically, let's step back. When you were growing up, did you say you grew up on a farm?
My grandparents, Elizabeth and Floyd, they had a farm in Woodville. The farm. It's since my uncle owns it now in Woodville, North Carolina, and they used to raise like livestock and all that. And they had my parents once left me there because me and my brother were acting up, and they once left me there. I think I was probably 11 or 12, and they left me there for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I'll have to tell you, it's one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had. It was horrible too, because I had to work the whole time. I thought I was going on vacation. Oh, no. I had to work the entire time. They get up at 5:30 in the morning. My grandparents were very good people. They got up at 5:30 in the morning. My grandma would cook, clean early in the morning. 4 o'clock, she'd get up, cook and clean. My granddaddy would be out there feeding at 5:30.
Right.
They just worked themselves to the bone. And I really do miss them. I miss them a lot. And I wish they were, here to see this. One of my greatest influence was on my other side of the family. My mother's mom, my other grandmother, Beulah Godfrey. She, I'm trying to get this right because I had to ask my mom about it. It was Sunshine Sue and the Ranger Boys. She used to sing with them.
Right.
And so she was once on a radio show with them. And she was supposed to be on the Grand Ole Opry radio show, but her dad told her no because at the time she was too young. I think she was in her teens, early teens. And so she didn't get that opportunity. So her whole life, when she was taking care of me after my parents had split up and everything, she would just play the country music, and I would just love it. And I would listen to her stories and listen to her sing.
Right.
And she was really good at it. And also, she's not here to see this, but I know she's with me. I know she's with me all the time. So,
well, that growing up, I remember back when I was little, my grandmother was very religious, and I can remember I used to go to her house during the summertime, and my grandma was like, I have the highest respect for these two people, because when I look back to what we have today, my grandpa and grandma lived in a one-bedroom house where they raised their two daughters. It didn't even have indoor plumbing. It had a faucet that only had cold water. They never had a hot water heater. They never had indoor plumbing like a toilet. They had to go out to an outhouse and stuff, and they had all these little outbuildings around. And they lived there till they got so old they couldn't live there no more.
My grandparents were the same way.
Yeah.
I heard stories about my dad saying there was an outhouse, and that's where they had to go. And before I was even born, there was they started out very little, and what they did was they built home. They bought this rinky-dink, nothing of a house, got it moved on the land, and it was like a one-bedroom kind of with a living room and a kitchen, no bathroom kind of thing.
Yep,
and then they kept building.
Well, see, that's so, that has to be a great memory. I mean, as you're growing up and you're talking about the singing in your family. So, like moving up when you were a teenager, I mean, what was it like for you to be a teenager, growing up where you were?
It was actually, to be honest, it was very difficult. My parents had divorced, and growing up, I started drinking probably at a very young age, probably like 14. Guys, if you're listeners, if you're teenagers and you're young, do not start drinking at a young age. It's a big mistake. And so, what I did was I would drink sometimes, not very often, but to solve my problems, I didn't want my parents to split up, and I always thought that it was my fault.
Right.
When I was younger, and it wasn't my fault. They just didn't get along. They didn't.
Right.
I mean, they would probably have blown each other up by now, but
So your parents were divorced at how old were you when that happened?
They separated when I was 12. They kind of set us down, and probably at 14 they were divorced.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so it was really, really hard. And then we moved to the Outer Banks. We moved from Elizabeth City to the Outer Banks. Going back though, we had moved around a little bit because my dad was in civil service, Coast Guard.
Right.
So we had moved around. We had moved to Havelock to the Cherry Point, in between. Basically, we had kind of a boring life in between there. It was kind of like we lived on 5 acres of land, and in between where they were together and divorced, we had moved to. We had everything all of a sudden, from nothing to everything.
Right.
Then from them getting divorced to having nothing. And my mom I remember she worked at McDonald's. She worked single mother. Single mothers, they work very hard. I know all about it. But she had worked at McDonald's, and I'm trying to think of the other place she worked at. She had 2 jobs. Sometimes 3. She could also sew, and she would get factory jobs sometimes. And I would have to take care of my brother. We lived over top of the apartment of my grandma's house. And so my grandma had to take care of my grandfather, he was paralyzed because he had a stroke.
Wow. You want to hear something? That's almost like a split image of my grandpa and Grandma Haywood. The ones that lived in that house. The same thing where he had had a stroke, and she took care of him up to the day he died.
He lived for 10 years after his stroke, and
Right.
then it was very hard. You got to give props to those people who take care of people that are disabled. They're good people.
Right.
You know, and he was a very good man. He was a painter when he was able to before the stroke and everything. Actually, believe it or not, on my 3rd birthday is when he had the stroke. I was having my birthday party, and there was a phone call, and they had to run out to the hospital.
Right.
So that was the start of roughness in life, but then I was my granddaddy's favorite anyways. But
so you were spoiled.
Yes.
Ah.
Actually, on both sides, they pretty much spoiled me. I like that.
Right. Well, it's remarkable because I think as we're growing up, everybody, they're growing up in life and they're doing this, this thing, and you remember our grandparents. It's like we don't think about it at that age, but we never really put a lot of thought into it. But when we get older, we start to look back, and we start looking at our grandparents, and we start. You know what I'm getting at? It's like you really look back and you just admire them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were great people, and my grandma didn't live very long. She died at 66.
Oh.
On my mom's side, and my other grandparents, they lived quite a bit longer. They got to see my children, and
Mm-hmm.
so that was at least they got to see that. But they had so many kids, so they had some of them later and some of them earlier. So on one side there was 7. On my dad's side, he's part of 7 brothers and sisters, and on my mom's side, she's part of 5 brothers and sisters. So.
Whoa! Wow! Big
So
family.
I have a huge family. When we get together, they always want me to do the music.
Oh, really? Well, that's got to be kind of cool, though.
Look, here's a cool fact you didn't know. My grandparents knew each other before their families were intertwined by my mom and dad getting married.
Really?
But they knew each other in high school, and they used to fight.
Wow.
They used to fight bad, yeah. I was like, oh, boy. And one of them would bring the other one up and then kind of, get a face. I don't know. It was funny to me. Later, they became friends.
Oh, wow. Cool. Ain't that weird, though? It's like...
It is. It's like God made them be friends.
Almost kind of like, what's that movie, The Notebook, right?
Oh, yeah. I love that movie, actually.
All girls love that movie.
That's a romantic movie. That is awesome.
That's how, like every woman's fantasy to find Prince Charming and grow old with him. And they die together at the end. Yeah, that's everybody's. Yeah. But anyway, I know that you and I have talked and stuff like that, and coming from a divorce, I know what it's like to be coming from a divorced family, but as through your teenager years, as you're growing up, and then we get a little bit wiser ourselves, and then we get a little bit more rebellious. I can't picture you being rebellious.
Oh yeah. At 16, let me see. I tend to like the really hard rock bands. I think it was like now I'm gonna give myself away, but oh well. It's like Skid Row and Warrant and stuff like that, and Motley Crue, and so I was into that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you weren't. Come on. Not you. No way.
Yeah, I was into that. Even one of my boyfriends, first boyfriends, he gave me a...
Wait. Did you hear what you just said? Your first boyfriends? How many boyfriends did you have?
I was a teenager, so you don't really get serious. You just kind of date.
Okay.
And then
are you sure
at 16, I met the guy that I married.
Oh, really?
The first time.
How old?
At 16, we stayed together from 16 till I was 21, and we got married.
I'll be darned. Really? That's amazing.
And we got married in a very odd place, but
Did Did you want to share that with us, or is that private?
It's up to y'all. If y'all, I mean, hopefully nobody judges me by this, but I was very young and I met him and I was in love with him. And after years of being with him, he got in trouble. And so my dad said he's about to get out of prison. If you're going to be with him, if he's going to come to the house, you have to get married. So I married him in jail. There was like a little long little hole in the window, so you could see like an inmate.
So
wait.
So check this out. This poor SOB. He's in prison, and he brings the ball and chain from prison to the ball and chain at home. He never had a chance for freedom, did he?
No, actually, he, believe it or not, after we divorced, I think it was like 2001, he actually, after he got in trouble again years later, and so like after we divorced, he actually changed his life. Believe it or not, he did.
Well, good for him. Good for him.
He's a car salesman. He's probably listening to this right now. He's going to get me.
Yeah.
He's going to get me.
What is he going to get you? A new car?
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah.
He'll probably charge me for it.
Of course. And double, maybe triple. But no, I mean, yeah, I mean, so you got married, fairly young. I mean, did you go to school or anything like that? Did you try to go into college?
I did. I went to school for 1 year. I went to school for business. And it was funny because I was in English class. And I was talking to and this is so incredible that I'm even talking to you on the air right now, because like it almost makes me want to cry, because I was writing, and my English teacher, I remember, she goes, "You are one of the best writers I've ever she said, I got to take you in the office here. We got to talk about this." I was like, oh no, what did I do? She was like, "This song made me laugh and made me cry. It had every emotion you could think of. This is incredible."
Right.
I was like, I don't need to go to college anymore. And so I kind of left.
Oh, you did one of those deals.
I did. I finished the year and left. And so, actually, I haven't really regretted that, because it was a good year in college, but staying longer might have delayed any career progress that's happened. So
Right.
But it was a wonderful experience. The psychology teacher said that I had a way of seeing outside of the box. He had put, like, I can't show you it because you can only hear me, but it was like a line and another line, and he's like, take 2 lines and make 6. He never said make a Roman numeral. Everybody else heard Roman numeral, and I took like a S is a curved line. He said that means that she sees outside of the box. They were so mad at me.
Oh, really?
They're like, that means she can see outside of the box, and, that's helpful in creating things. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that.
Wow, amazing.
So, I mean, I just like to do that to people now. I try to trick them up and get them to, make it into a Roman numeral and then show them how to do it.
Well, I mean, it's just like, like you said before, it's just like, it's awesome having you here, hearing this story. I mean, seriously, in school, you outsmarted everyone in your class just by thinking outside the box.
Actually, I was probably one of the not as smart as everybody else grade-wise. Grade-wise, I probably wasn't, but it was just like I could see things different. And I wanted to, like, on something like English that I was impressed with, like I could really exceed well in that. And so I did, I got like A's and A minuses and A plus and stuff like that on a lot of my papers and in the English.
Oh, wow.
But some of the other classes, not so good. Business I did pretty good at, and I studied a little bit of business law, which it does help with music. Because you do have to deal with contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember back when I was like, I don't know, between the ages probably about, say 26, 27 years old. And I was at a point in my life where you probably, I don't know if you did this same thing, but I remember back when I felt like, I knew everything. No one.
Oh, I definitely did. I thought I knew everything, Rob.
Oh, and I was like, I remember one time I worked with this one guy, and his name was Larry, and this is a long time ago, and we were working together, and the one thing I kept saying is anytime he'd ask me a question, I said, yeah, I know. And one day he just grabbed onto me, flipped me over on my back, and raised up a hammer, and he says, if you say, I know one more time, I'm going to bury this hammer in your head. And I was like, holy crap, and you don't know
my
nothing.
My mom says, if you got my mom on air, she would just tell all the business.
We need to get her on the air.
She'd be like, if you got my mom.
Oh, that would be great. We need to get Mom.
Yeah, we're not going to be doing that, Rob.
Oh,
she'll be like, she needed a spanking. She was a bad teenager.
You probably did need your butt spanked. Oh, never mind.
I was good and innocent, and I tell you, my mom's delusional. She's probably listening right now. Yeah. I'm just doing that so she'll come see me.
Yeah, we're all perfect children, right? Yeah.
Right, and I keep teasing her. I asked her, I do this so she'll come see me because we haven't seen each other in quite a while. And I told her she needs to come out to Tennessee, and she really wants to. Mm-hmm. But every now and then my brother and me will just tease her and say something that'll make her really mad. So when Groundhog Day was here, I asked her, did she see her shadow or not? I wanted to know if we were going to have more winter. And she was like, I'm going to hurt you. I'm coming out there. I was like, exactly. Get on the plane and come see me now. I love you,
Right. I can just picture. I was just actually picturing your mom right now trying to dial the phone. What's that radio station?
I think she's listening too. I better watch out. She might get it. She might have some photographs to put on YouTube. Her and my brother threatened that.
We all know the truth. Come on now. There's nothing you'd like to share how bad you were?
Well,
you were bad.
Well, I skipped school. Just like any teenager, but I skipped school and, basically drank some. But, I guess I wasn't as... I've seen bad teenagers nowadays, and that is not what I was. I was... But I do not like that I lied to my mom sometimes, and I made mistakes. I don't like that because I'm a mother now, and I wouldn't want my children to do that to me.
Well, that's I guess that's awesome. Seriously. You're a normal person. You were a normal teenager then.
I don't know if I'm normal, but it's close enough.
Well, I don't know. Just look.
Musicians are not normal. I've been told. I told Ashley on the phone that. I told her, I was like, we're not normal people.
Well, the thing about it is
crazy.
Okay, so then how would you describe me? I'm a musician.
Crazy.
And I'm pretty smart.
Yeah, you're very smart and also a little bit crazy.
I am probably one of the most insane people you're ever going to meet, really.
See, that's good because I think that means we're normal. We can admit that.
Yeah.
A lot of people see things in black and white. They see like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to go to work every day. I'm going to work 9 to 5. I'm going to have a steady paycheck. I'm going to do all this. Musicians see things completely different, which is insane to everyone who's doing the normal thing.
Well, we all know that's I don't know. See, maybe then I play the double role here. Then I must play a double role because I know when I get up in the morning, last thing I want to do is jump on my guitar and start just wailing on it. I get up in the morning. The first thing I do is I hit the desk and I'm answering emails, and I'm having to fix bugs and stuff like that, and got web jobs that I'm working on and all this other stuff. It keeps me so busy. And then, of course, sometimes I look behind me and I see my guitar sitting there and screaming for me to just pick you up and give me 15 minutes of your time.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
everybody's got their. We've got a song coming out, and it explains that perfectly. It's like one of the lines is like everybody's got a different way of saying all the things that they want to say.
there
Listen
you
to the
go.
music, listen to the song. Why can't we just all get along? So
Holy crap. Did you think that up?
yeah, I wrote it. Well, I'll just say God in heaven, Jesus wrote it for me because I don't want to take too much credit.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
such
it just came to me, and it was so beautiful. It's like people come and people go.
Right.
Love you a little and let you go. The hurt they cause they never know, but people come and people go.
Wow.
So, and that's part of the song, and we have finished that song, and it's about to be recorded, and so we're very proud of it. It's going to be on our next album.
I can't wait for that, but I want to ask you a question. Now, back when you were talking, you were actually talking, when you're divorced and stuff like that, when you
Yes.
separated from your husband, and that had to have been real hard on you. I mean, and do you now, I mean, let's talk about that time. Because actually one of your songs is pretty much about this time when you were going through a real hard struggle. Here you are, you're out there, you're on your own and stuff like that, and a single mom.
Yeah, I think, my heart is breaking, basically sums it up. And for me is when I got married the second time, I met somebody on the beach, and he seemed so charming. And out of respect for people make mistakes, I won't mention his name, but I had been with him for like 3 years. We were already married after a year. We had one child after 3 years, and I was pregnant with another one, and he started hitting me. I mean, this man was perfect. I did not think he would do a single thing wrong. And so I thought he was always kind, and everybody loved him. My parents used to come see us, and they loved him. And so he hit me. And, people are always like, I'm never going to put up with that. That's just not something I'm going to do. But I did. I loved him, and I put up with it. And this is hard.
No, go
but
ahead.
I had to talk about it. But I do, because this will help people, and
Right.
that's what I want to do. But he then continued to hit me. I didn't know when he was going to do it, and it got so bad that he actually abused me in probably every way possible. And so I didn't know how to deal with that. It was very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go for help, centers and stuff like that, it almost feels like nobody's there to help you.
Right.
And you go, and they kind of question you in a way that makes you feel like you must have done something. It makes you feel that way. They're not trying to make you feel that way, but it makes you feel like you must have done something to cause it, because you're already thinking that way. Because
Sure.
women tend to think, if I had done something different, this wouldn't have happened. If I could just change them, if something would be different, then I could change the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
To women who are getting abused, get out of the situation. Contact me. I'll help you. I'll tell you the whole thing. But we have at church, we help abused women and children. So, and we're trying to start a center, and the church is helping us, little along getting with that. And we also help homeless women, which have gone through some of the same things.
Right.
So it was very difficult. And then raising the kids, I had no job. I had given up everything I had. I had given up my car, my job to raise the kids and everything. And
Right.
when it got to its max that I could handle it, about 2 months later, and I kept all this to myself. You've got to understand that nobody knew.
Right.
I
right.
lied to everyone. I covered the whole thing up. And now that's probably why I'm so open, is because that was the worst thing I could have ever done. Because it was like I was angry at people all the time, and I didn't understand why. And so if I run across an angry woman, sometimes I take a second thought not to judge her because she may be going through the same thing, and she's hiding it.
Right.
And I hid it from my friends. I hid it from my family. My family didn't know. I knew my dad would. My dad used to be in Vietnam, so I knew my dad would, like, you know, 38 or something, you know, something, shotgun, something.
Right.
And so I didn't want that to happen. So I just kept it to myself, and I didn't want anybody to be hurt, and I wanted to make sure that I could take care of my kids because he always threatened to take them away.
Right.
And so he wasn't able to do that. Actually, 2 months after I could get, and he never hurt the kids, thank the Lord, you know, but
Right.
2 months after it got as bad as it could get for me, I started working, and it took me about a year and a half, and I went from making $9.50 to $14 an hour at Belk's department store.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, so they had helped me an awful lot, you know. And so I then got a car on my birthday, and then, you know, of course the cops were involved later because there was more violence, and then I wouldn't put up with it anymore. And so he was out of our life. And then, of course, there was back and forth where you think, maybe if I try one more time, you know, no, don't do it, ladies. It does not work that way. You have to, a man loves you, he's going to treat you right, you know. And you agree with that, Rob, don't you? I mean, he's not going to lay his hands on you to hurt you that way.
That's yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you know, it sounds to me like, you know, this guy was a tool, you know, and, you know, for him to do what he did to you, and you know, what's really going through your mind, and you're sitting there telling me, God, I just, you know, what did I do? I mean, did I do something wrong? I shouldn't have done something wrong. I shouldn't have pushed him. Oh, it's all my fault. And you put the blame on you.
And then they tell you that. Then they're
Right.
like, well, if you'll just be quiet about it, you know, if you just won't talk about it one more time, you know, it'll go away. And
Right.
it doesn't. And then you keep building up this secret inside of you until finally you have to tell, you know, somebody that they hurt you, you know.
Right.
And there was marks on me sometimes that were so bad that my ears actually looked like they were cauliflower.
Really?
I was walking like, I remember one of the times I'd be walking like I was walking upstairs, and I was walking on a flat surface.
Oh, wow.
And it felt to me like I was walking upstairs. And my kids had to see this, so it's sometimes difficult for them to adjust.
So how did, when you did make that split? I mean, how did the kids take it? I mean, were they?
They don't like him sometimes, but I tell them, look, there is forgiveness, and you know, he has gone through an awful lot. He's been homeless, and he's been down, and I really honestly believe in God's grace and glory that he'll pull him out of that. Will I ever be with him again, even though I believe in full forgiveness of his sins, and I do forgive him, am not angry at all or resentful towards him. And it took me, oh my gosh, it took me a long time to say that, Rob, because a lot of times I felt like I just hate this guy. You know, I'm like, I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to hurt him right now. And I learned kickboxing, and I actually did hurt him one time, but
You went and kicked his butt? Is that what you just said?
yes, I did. And he called the cops on me.
Oh, so now you've got, like, they got you on file as being like a pistol now, right?
No, actually, I didn't get in trouble. They said, actually, he had gotten in an argument with my daughter, and there was this little teeny scratch, like, on her head.
Right.
And I was like, he touched my oldest daughter, and she's got a mark on her. I said, if you leave him here, I'm going to kill him, to the cops. And they were like, you can't say that, ma'am. I said, you've come to this house before. You haven't done anything. You're going to try to tell me that he can stay in this house, that he has legal rights to stay here, and you're not going to do anything about it, but I'm not supposed to do anything about it either.
Right.
I'm going to get kicked out of my home. I'm going to have to leave my home with my children. He said, ma'am, you just can't say that. I said, well, leave him here and see what happens. So they took him out and talked to him separately.
Yeah.
And he goes, she's been drinking. I just know it. It just so happened that I was perfectly sober, 0.0. But I said, let's be fair. Since we're being really fair towards other people, I said, let's test him for alcohol.
Right.
So, of course, he went to jail. And he had I think it was a $30,000 bond or somewhere in there. It was very high.
Really?
Yes, he went to jail for 2 days. He had to go through probation and all this, and I went through protective order and all this. Those protective orders don't work, but kickboxing works pretty good. Kickboxing is a good tool.
So
he told me years later, he goes, you're the only woman I know that can beat somebody up, and then the other person goes to jail. I was like, but you don't understand. You had been doing this for a long time, you know. Maybe not every day, but it doesn't matter. If you waited a month and you were really nice for a whole month and then you decided to beat me.
Right. Well,
they have that excuse too. They go, well, I didn't do it every day. To hear you say it, it was like I did it every day, it's okay to occasionally beat your wife.
Yeah. Well, I have to disagree with that. I'd rather get beat up by her. So, I'd feel better that way.
And that's no suggestion, Jody, just to cover you, Rob.
Yeah, that's what worries me, man. As I told Jody, I said, she's right now she's been going to these classes during the day, and it was kind of like she's really hating it, and I'm like, well, you don't have to go. And she goes, well, I'm gonna stick it out and just see what they have to offer me. And it's like she sends me text messages back and forth, and I'm like, it's like I hear you, but yeah, I mean, you getting back to you. This is about you, not me. But listen.
Oh, I like hearing that too. I mean, I love to hear people, relate to something. It's wonderful when people can relate to something somebody else's experience.
Well, with your experience, I would, you did exactly what you needed to do. And if you had to, adjust his, if you had to adjust his family jewels for him a couple times, well, then he had that coming. Now, later on in life, as soon as you broke free from, to me, I almost, it's like you broke free from your bonds, and you started to get out there and you started. When was the first time that you stood up on stage and sung?
I guess I think I was, let me make sure I got this right. I think I was 12.
12 years old.
I sang in a trio at church. But there was other times, I feel like there was other times where we did storybook things, and then we did a Betsy Ross play when I was 5 years old, and I was I wasn't Betsy Ross. I remember that. I wasn't Betsy Ross, but I was right next to Betsy Ross.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so cute. I had me a little sewing kit, and of course my mom made me wear braids on both sides, pigtails. Yeah, not cool.
Yeah, it was. That's cool. Yeah, it is cool. You just don't like it.
But then she was, I had a little sewing kit, and I was doing that. And I feel like we sang with some of those, and I was in chorus, and throughout school, throughout middle school and everything. And when I think I was 17, I sang in front of 500 people. I had to do 3 auditions to sing in front of 500 people, and I sang Heart These Dreams.
Really?
Yeah. And that was very difficult. I practiced for months on that song, and somewhere in the world at the high school, which I'm not going to name where it's at, there's a videotape of me singing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You got to share it.
I cannot. That video was horrible.
It doesn't
matter. I sang
matter.
really. I did great on the
Okay,
singing.
I'll tell you. Well, you'll send it to me though, right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't have my fingers crossed behind my back, Rob.
Oh, you have to send it to me. There is no way out of it.
I would actually, to be honest with you, I would love to see it again. Your perception is different when you're just, grown,
I know, but okay, so you knew you wanted to sing at an early age, obviously, right?
Oh yeah. When I was 9, I set up. My dad and mom were in the front seat. My brother was beside me, and I set up and put my arm on both the headrests, and I go, I'm going to be on the radio one day. And they go, you are? I said, yep, I'm going to be a country music singer. They looked at me like I was crazy.
Well, you know what? You know what we need to do then? We need to send you that first show from GHTR, because that was the first radio show you were on.
I know. That means so much to me. Y'all don't even know.
I know. It's kind of cool, but... Now, when you're growing up, okay, when did you finally start writing your own music? And not only that, tell me about the transition to where you are today. I mean, what is it that got you to where you are today? Because, for a while there, you were running wild. You were doing wild things, and doing what every normal person does.
Yeah, and there's no judgment on that for me. Like, I understand people are at different points in their life.
Right.
But it's when that I came to know Christ in a personal way.
Right.
That I got saved, and I turned everything over. Just turned it over. Mm-hmm. There was so much pain, and I was so brokenhearted that I just turned it over. And it was then that he started to change. He started to change the music, and he started to make everything better, just better all the way around. And it didn't happen automatically where everything was just perfect. It just started happening little by little. And I see that the music helps people, which I'm amazed that my life, the girl who got married in jail, that has been through all this crazy stuff, can help somebody else. I'm just amazed by that. Mm-hmm. And I'm super grateful. Now I'm crying.
No, you don't have to cry. But the thing about it is I just remember so much, in a year that we've pretty much known each other a year now, just over a year, and I've watched, this incredible thing, and we're gonna actually touch on this, and what it is that I remember at a time when my life was the lowest. I mean, you have no idea of the pain and the suffering that I was enduring. And I just, one day, it's like I said before, I woke up one day, and I just said, I don't want to go through this again. Because I'd already went through a real terrible divorce, and believe me, I was the real bad person in that one. I made my first wife, I made her miserable because I was so angry. I was mad at her. And then when I went through my second one, it was, I literally just sat there and I said, I don't want to go through all that again. And I just said, got down on my knees and I prayed. And I said, I can't do this. I cannot take this. Please, whatever you do, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll live your life. I'll live for you. Every day I'll pray to you and everything. And it's just like, maybe it happened to you the same way. It's like this, it was like a change. You kind of knew something happened, but it seemed day after day, things weren't as sad. Things weren't as difficult. And
everything gets easier. You have to turn over everything.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about the way you think, everything, and you just let go. Mm-hmm. and God will come in right where you're at, anywhere you're at, and He'll change your life. And He believes in your dreams too. I know you know this, Rob. He's come into your and make your dreams come true.
Right.
Not only that, it's amazing.
And see, that's why, we were actually, you and I had talked earlier in the week, and one of the conversations that you and I had, and we were actually talking about two different subjects, and the two subjects that we were talking about was how God, touches you and how God changes everything in your life, and it's just like when you're at that point, God puts people together for a reason. Like, it's really weird because along comes Brenda, okay, and Brenda is one of the most beautiful people I've met in my whole entire life. Brenda,
she's my little angel. She's my angel.
Brenda to me is at the top of my friends list, and no matter what she does, no matter what she says, no matter how bad she hurts me, I wouldn't care if she blew up and hit me over the head with a baseball bat.
I know. If she ran me over with the truck and I was laying in the parking lot, I'd be like, Brenda, don't go.
I'd say, wait. You didn't mean to do that. It's like, we understand. But no,
she has this grace gift that's right over her that you just can't be mad at her.
And so here she comes and she gets a hold of you. And we, you show up on our show. And it was really kind of, in a way, now, again, we have talked about this a lot, you and I have, not on the air, but we've talked, personally, we've talked, and It was something about you, because we had done lots of interviews with up-and-coming new artists, and a lot. We've had some real surprises, and we've had some really good talent. And, we really felt good. And I don't know, we got done with our interview, and all I could think of is, I gotta say something. I gotta talk to these guys. And it wasn't long after that I asked to talk to both you and Bo.
I so remember that because I was on the a little bit defensive there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm a work in progress, so I was kind of like,
but I wasn't.
He's correcting me.
But the thing about it is I wasn't doing that to do anything but to tell you what I thought.
And you know what? It did wonders because, God knew who I could listen to and who I couldn't, how I needed to be talked to. And the way that you talked to me, even though it felt like a correction, it felt like the right thing. And so when I thought about it, God just kind of said, you know what? You need to take this advice. And, you know that your music is not how you want it to be either. In your heart, you know that that's not what you wanted. And now the album is what I wanted. Right. It did help.
Okay. And the thing about it is this what I'm trying to tell you about how God works. And I've never done that. I've never took anybody aside. It was just something, like you say, God tells you to do something, and I believe that's what God wanted me to do. And I remember it so vividly. And when you guys came back and you showed me the changes and stuff like that, even the tone of your voice was like, we hear the difference. We hear a total difference, and how everything was laid out. And God, Bo did such a great job,
He did.
And having limited tools to work with and all this other stuff. And it's just like, in my opinion, in this whole thing, it's critical. And I just, Christy, you are like a very different person. And when you capture someone's heart like you did, it's like you have this innocence that through your voice and everything. And I think when I heard you singing, you had a distinctive sound to your voice. It was very calm and soothing, and it was like. And I said to you down the road, I'd say, well, it'd be really good if you go this way. No, just Christy do it. Oh, hell no. She doesn't want to do that, but she did all this other stuff, and I'm like telling her.
I'm still stubborn now.
I know, and this is gets me is all the stuff that I'm telling you. And then one day, you and I were talking, and I said, I went to your website, and I said, Christy, we got to talk about your website. And I said to you, look, again, there's that voice inside my head, that small thing saying, like, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Get it done. And no, what was it, a day or two?
Yeah, my old website, by the way, everybody, it looked like somebody had done it with Crayola or something. It ran slow too.
You did what you could, and you did a good job. Don't put yourself down, beat yourself up.
Well, it would load the picture, the background, and then it would load like maybe 5 minutes later. It might load the picture of me.
Right. And
so it was slow.
And the one thing I said to you, I said, we just got to do something. And you go, well, there was that skeptic, that because, what happens in the music industry, you got all these little freaking people are sitting here going, hey, I'll do this for you, but there's always something attached.
Yeah, I've had those people that have helped me, and then they want something attached to it. They're actually... there was one person that he actually wanted, later he wanted some money. I think he was joking, but in a way I don't think so. So we kind of let that go because I hadn't signed with him, but he was helping me so much. And I got to tell you, I don't care what their motives are. He helped me so much, and he didn't get anything in return.
Who?
And so his name was Marco.
Oh, yeah.
And so one day he will get his back, because I always pay people back for what they did,
Mm-hmm.
But
is that when you want me to send you the bill?
Oh yeah, I want you to send me the bill then.
It's like, okay.
I'll be like, what is that movie? I'll send you an IOU. It's just as good as money.
Yeah. No, I mean, really, the reason, is I'm not, I'm not a person to discredit anybody, but, the good.
And I'm not discrediting him either.
No, and he, he did the best job possible, and he did good. He didn't. I mean, it wasn't. Look, let's just face it. Your website wasn't that bad.
I'll tell you something he did that was incredible. Dennis Carney, the guy who took my photographs, he hooked me up with him and paid for it. So that was like amazing. Dennis Carney takes Alan Jackson's picture. Mm-hmm. Y'all should look it up. It's Dennis Carney Photography. Pretty nice.
Yeah, and really good pictures. And the thing about it is I remember the first time I told you, okay, now go to your website, and you were just like that thought. I don't know what came across your mind, but why don't you just tell everybody what you did when you first came to that site after we finished doing the first rendition, not the second rendition, but the first rendition.
Oh my gosh, I about fell out. I mean, I did, and then later I think we had a problem where it said my domain name. I couldn't find it, and I started freaking out and calling you and texting like a million times. And then we got that running again, but I was like, what just happened? Did he take it from me?
No.
And so, I was so amazed at what I had. I was like, oh, my God, I've just been blessed. I know that God has just done this for me.
Right.
Because God has always told me, and even Marco, he's a blessing. Right. He's a very good man. I may not have liked all those things, a little bit bossier. But he knows that. He knows he's bossy.
Right.
So, I mean, even if he's listening, he knows he's a little bossy, but we've always been good friends, and he helped me too. And so, everybody, like Marco, my dad has helped me through the years, my mother, also my brother. they have helped me through the years with everything. The main thing is, I couldn't have done any of this music if it wasn't for God and Bo. Bo came into my life, and I had already had like 3 other guitar players.
All right, well let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us how you met Bo and how he came waltzing into your life and enough to get hit by a microphone?
Okay. Well, first off, I'm a back up a little bit more. I had one guitar player that I had met at the department store that I was working at,
right.
And I had met him, and I think his name was Trey, and we worked together for a little while, maybe 2 or 3 times. He tried to change my music completely, and
really?
He was very good, very talented, but it wasn't country. And he was trying to change it. It sounded beautiful when I was singing with him, but it wasn't. I couldn't feel it in my heart. And so I didn't want to do something that I was just doing for money. And so I told him, we can work together again sometime, and just kind of left it at that. And he went off and got married, I think, and didn't work with me again. I think they left the state or whatever. But then I met Aaron, which oh my gosh, he can really, really play. He can also play the drums as well. And he's very talented. He's just one of those people that's so talented at a whole lot of things. And so he can do a lot of things. So he does, and he had a fiance and 2 or 3 full-time jobs, and he was going to college. So he was doing all that, and at 22, I think he was.
Right.
And then we had Ziggy, which that's his nickname because I'm really not allowed to say his name. But I worked with him, and he was the most talented too. Guitar player, drummer, versatile. So I started working with Aaron and Ziggy together, and so they would switch off. It sounded really great. I kind of got a little bit of the sound that I wanted. I kind of got a feel for my signature sound, but not all the way. And then Ziggy got in a little bit of trouble.
Right.
And so I let him go. And, of course, Aaron went back to doing his regular job, which I hope he still does music because I want to help him because Aaron's really good and very professional.
Right.
But then I was sitting at home. I'm like, I can't go through another guitar player. I cannot do this again. And I said, I run into these people and, for whatever reason, it's just not working out. I said, they're really good, but either the music's not the same as mine, they're too busy, or, and they're all good and they all like the music that I'm doing, but it's just not working out. So I'm like, I'm going to give up. And so I'm sitting there in the chair, and a friend of mine comes in the door, and his name is Jeff. And he comes in the door, and he knew Bo. He worked with Bo at an electrical place that they work at, distribution company.
Right.
And so he comes in the door. He's like, I'm not going to be the middleman. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? He's like, I've got somebody for you to meet, but I'm not going to be the middleman. I was like, are you trying to fix me up? What's going on? He's like, no, I've got a guitar player for you. And so he introduced me to Bo. He gave me the phone number, so I called Bo up. Bo, of course, is skeptical. So you're going to be the singer? I'm like, yes, I am, And he's like, we'll have to meet and see how it goes. And so he came over, and probably the first time, I thought he played really good. I didn't think we had any chemistry at all. I was a bad judge of character because he started, after a couple of times that we met up, he started playing. He was sitting in the chair. He started playing this song, Warming Up. And I go, what is that song? I've got to have it. I said, is that yours? I said, is that your riff? He goes, I said, I want the riff. He was like, no, you can't have that. I said, why not? He said, that's my song. It's called Dream Girl. And I said, I want it for Winter Wishes. And he was like, no. I was like, well, I kind of, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, please, come on. You've got to trust me. This is going to work. And so I said, I just knew. It was like God was telling me, that's the riff for that song. Do it. And so, like, I just had to do it, you know, because I could just feel it. And I put those two together. Bo played it. And ironically, we have a couple recordings that Bo won't let me exploit, but they have, like, recordings of him singing Winter Wishes.
Oh, wow.
He would get me. But he went through and played it and sang it kind of like he wanted to go, and we wound up writing Winter Wishes together the rest of the way.
Wow.
Because all I had was, like, I'd been walking one day, and I wrote Winter Wishes, California Nights, and I wake up to the Tennessee Lights. I don't know if it's wrong or it's right, but I think you should stay the night. So I wrote that, and that's how we got that.
Wow. Good job.
And so he comes up with the catchy. He comes up with the California, you know I'm missing you this morning.
Right.
And I come up with the rest of it. So he comes up with the catchy.
Oh,
tunes.
Us guitarists always do. We come up with some pretty good stuff.
But that's not fair. That's not fair.
We don't care. We don't care. You don't matter. You don't matter to us. You're just a singer. That's all you are.
Oh my gosh. That's entertainment abuse right there.
Yeah, yes it is. But no, I mean, you know, Bo is actually, you know, I've listened to Bo play, and I really, you know, it's just like I always said to myself, when him and I get to meet, we're just gonna sit down and we're just gonna share. I bet you anything we're gonna share. Like, you won't matter. It'll just be me and Bo because we're both guitarists and stuff. And I'm gonna say.
Well, I'm taking Jody shopping. I hope you have your credit card handy.
Oh, jeez. No, I'm not giving her my credit card. No way. Shit, how come I'm broke? No. But anyway, I mean, the thing about it is, you know, you guys have had a really incredible journey, and you know, I see a lot, you know, moving forward. And now, you know, I know with the website, it's not having a good website, but it's also being, you know, it's like. You know, during our conversations, I said, look, you know, we got to get you tweeting. We got to get you on Facebook. We got to get you on other, you know, basically you just can't settle on one. And you started getting, after our show, you started getting calls to be on different radio shows. And, you know, with my advice and with the advice of many other people, you listened to the way that things need to work. And you saw how incredible it is. And it's just like for the longest time, I couldn't get you to, it's like, hey, dude, do some videos. No, okay, we'll do them. Never did them. No, didn't want to do them. Because what was the reason? Yeah, that was the reason. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard her. That was the reason. There is no reason. I
was picky. I was kind of picky with, like you were saying, one little hair out of place.
Yep.
I will talk to artists all the time that had the same problem as me now that I had.
You're such a girl.
They worry about the one little piece of hair, the one little, you know, makeup that might not be right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. After all I did was talk.
Yeah.
And I just shared it with everybody on, like, private message. I don't mind saying that. I shared it with everybody. And then shared it on some pages, some groups. And then they watched it. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't like I was as much as a stranger to people anymore. They started knowing my name better.
Right.
And so it did help.
It does. It helps a lot. And here's the reason why, okay? People nowadays are visual. They like to hear things, but they also like to see things. They like to hear that person who's talking, that person who's singing. And one of the biggest things that actually I went to, and this, I'm going to give you up my secret, okay? Now you're going to know my dirty little secret.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, okay. Some time ago I literally went to a seminar in Chicago, and the seminar it talked about media across, and we're talking radio. They talked about TV, visual. They talked about websites. They talked about social network. They talked about Facebook. They talked about Twitter. This whole weekend that I was there believe me, it was just jam packed full of information. And I sat in there, and YouTube, of course, is owned by Google. We know that. And they were talking about, think about it this way. You can go to Facebook, and you can talk to all the people on Facebook. Okay? You can go to Twitter, and you can talk to everybody about Twitter. But there's one thing that you can do, is you can go to YouTube, and you can gather more fans through YouTube than you can through Twitter, through Facebook, and all that other stuff. Okay?
Yeah,
YouTube,
because they look for that video automatically because
Right.
they're like, I got to see the YouTube video for this.
Right. And once you start doing more, the more you're going to start creating a fan base. And then you're going to be talking in your YouTube instead of not so much on Facebook, but you're going to spend time in all your markets. And one of the things I said to you, was when we were developing your website, anytime that you post anything inside your website, it'll automatically show up on your Facebook fan page. Mm-hmm. Anytime that you tweet, it should show up on your Facebook fan page. That's how you communicate with your fans. And believe me, when you did take that step, tell me, what did it do for your fan base when you connected all those elements together and you started tweeting, you started being more active on your fan page, not your personal page, when you started being more active on your fan page? What happened?
When I started being more active on my fan page, and then I learned how to do Twitter, but I'm going to tell you, I'm excited about the Twitter thing, though. Don't forget to talk about that.
Okay.
But the fan page, actually, it almost blew up. You saw it. It blew up in a week.
Right.
I mean, it went from 0 to 500 or something.
Right.
And then the next week it was already, or the week after, it was up to 1,000.
Right.
And so now it's getting closer to 2,000, which I wish it was higher. So all y'all listeners, go to my fan page and click like, please.
Yes. And the thing about it is,
the more people who know.
The magic number is 2,400.
It could be 24,000. If you see it said 2,400, don't hesitate to click like.
Believe me,
I need all the help I can get.
You hit 2,400, you're going to explode out of the water. And the thing about it is this is what gets me. A lot of people now, you even thought this first. You remember that? We were talking because you said you were going to create another page, your Christy page, because you had one filled up.
Yeah.
Okay, and I said to you, I go, no. You need to make your personal page your personal page. You cannot allow your fans to post anything on your wall. If you want your fans to follow you, you follow them. You have them go to your fan page where you will communicate with your fans all the time. A lot of people get it in their heads that if I have 5,000 people on my page, they're all my fans, or they even think that they're potential fans. Believe it or not, if you have 5,000 people in your personal Facebook page, and I told Christy this, I can guarantee you this, that you have more people in there who don't give a crap about you or who you are, who still don't know who you are and still haven't heard your music.
Well, that's okay because I often like to post Bible scriptures, and if I can help Jesus out, I'm happy to. So it's okay with me.
But the thing about it is here's something that I pretty much left out. Everybody knows Chris Allen, and he's a country music artist himself.
Super talented.
And I go into his page. He's actually at work, he was at school, and I posted something on his wall. I went into the kitchen, got a glass of water, come back to my desk, and my post that I had posted was 8 pages down.
I know they blow up on his page.
But the problem is if you really put your science and you put on your thinking cap there, Christy.
Okay, I have to think now. I'm just kidding.
But think about this. How many messages have you missed from all those people? And how many of those people who have equal amount of numbers see your post? The chances of that happening are less than 1%.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and a lot of times you have to go in and do the extra work and actually take the time to message those people that haven't heard about your music.
Right. And here's the other thing. If you have a fan page, you can still message your fans back and forth. If you have a fan page, you will grow your numbers faster by using your fan page than you will using your personal page.
I agree with that, because when I'm on my fan page, it's all about me.
And not only that, anybody that joins to be a fan will get every message that you send. On your personal page, right? Get this, on your personal page, it's only done once. Let me run that by you one time more. On your personal Facebook page, when you post something on there, it's posted once. Okay? When you post in your fan page, if you got 2,000, 4,000, or 50,000 people, that post will show up that many times.
Oh, so I still have some things yet to learn, but like I kind of figured that out, because
there
like
you go.
I noticed that people weren't responding as quickly as maybe after I posted something on the fan page. Right.
But
I do need to use the fan page more. I have gotten really into Twitter, which was what you were encouraging me on.
Yep. And you're loving Twitter now.
Yeah, but I got to talk. You don't understand. I'm like a huge Dana Carvey fan.
Yep.
And Dana Carvey, I had followed him because I'm like, oh, he'll never follow me back. He followed me back that night and then talked to me in a private message. And, I just love him on, like, Master of Disguise. Am I not turtly enough for your turtle club? I love that. But he talked to me for a little bit, and he's a very good person. And so, like, I couldn't believe that the people would take the time. I know he's so busy.
Right.
But he took the time to actually message me back. He actually said, party on. And then after that, we had Danielle Peck.
Yeah.
And let me see. I'm trying to think. Jamie O'Neill, and which I'm huge. Jamie O'Neill, There Is No Arizona, and Danielle Peck. They're so talented.
And me.
Oh yeah, Rob. Yeah, I almost forgot. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, see how unimportant I am now to you?
You are great. I love GHTR. I'm dragging y'all with me on stage. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean,
on the Opry. So y'all get ready. Brenda, gosh, she might get shy, but
I know. But you know what? What we could do is we could just sedate her. We'll sedate her and we'll get her. We'll make sure that she's sitting down because we don't want her fainting when she sees the crowd of people.
It would definitely mean the world to me,
Right. Well, I
just love her.
One of the things that I've enjoyed working with you about is as a matter of fact, we're getting to that time where that important question that you've been worried about. One of the things that you and I have really dug deep into in the last conversations that we've had is and this question is going to be right up your alley, and be prepared, because what you say, I might not agree with, So you got to be, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to. And I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm gonna put you in a real good spot.
I'm okay with people not agreeing with me. They usually don't.
Well, I want to ask you this. You are a devoted Christian, and and I know that a lot of Christians sometimes they stray. And it's really actually Jesus talks about it when he's talking about the lambs, how some of the lambs, the younger ones will stray off from the others, and that's why he calls us his lost lambs, because sometimes we, even being Christians, we get lost. In your opinion, how do you feel that right now in this day and age, it talks about in the Bible, and I know that you've read this, and this is where now you're getting put on the spot. Do you remember basically in the Bible when it talks about how when towards the end, when Christ is supposed to revisit us, have you ever really thought about how the things had played up, and do you feel in your heart, real strong, do you feel that the end of the world is near and that Jesus is going to come in the clouds? And how do you feel about that?
It actually, that's just something that I rather God not voice for me, really, because I just see that there is so much yet that can be. I see that God, in all His mercy, He just loves. You could be out on the streets, doing God knows what, and God, in His infinite mercy, any kind of person, you can be in prison.
Right.
You could be, my ex-husband, totally worthy of forgiveness from Jesus Christ. We are no better than the next person. It doesn't matter what they've done. God in His grace, He forgives everyone. And as far as that goes, I don't really think about the end times, because it kind of says, you're not supposed to think what you're going to say or you're going to do. So I try to keep that part away.
But you have to understand, as a Christian, you cannot ignore that.
No, and that's why I'm talking about Jesus Christ on the radio right now, Rob, because everyone needs to come to Jesus, because it's better than anything that you can have in your life, and it'll just change you. You don't have to. You're not going to lose anything. I used to think, man, it's like the best party ever being with God. It really is. He just makes you happy when you're sad. Every day's not perfect. And when you come to Jesus Christ, be prepared, because you're going to go through a battle all the time. It never loosens up. Once you come to God, then the devil starts bothering you. My dad used to tell me, he said, the devil never bothers somebody who's doing bad, because he's doing exactly what he wants them to do. So why would he bother them? They're happy all day long,
Right.
When you come to Christ, it's worth every bit of the fight, because you're not fighting by yourself. You're fighting with Him.
Right.
And you have somebody fighting there with you. I mean, it's either one or the other. I mean, there's no in between.
Right. Well, one of the things that I actually had believed in a long time ago is when people, matter of fact, you're going to be very, very probably blown away about what I'm about to say. I actually read a book by Jimmy Swaggart one time. And Jimmy Swaggart he's an evangelist.
Oh, yeah,
he's like he's the biggest thing out there. But he has written some of the best books that I've really studied, because believe it or not, I used to study biblical history. I found it fascinating. I found it to be really, to be honest with you, I thought I really felt it to be rewarding. And there's certain things that when you read the Bible, everybody has their own interpretation of the Bible. When you read the Bible, you are getting a message, and whatever that message is, it doesn't matter what the words are really saying. It's what you take away. And Jimmy Swaggart said this. He says, for everybody that reads the Bible, everybody walks away with a different message.
And I agree. I agree. Sometimes I've had people.
Wait. Sometimes
the Holy Spirit sometimes will reveal almost the exact same thing to the same people. Just it sounds different coming out, but it's the same thing basically, kind of.
All right, but see what you're saying is you're going by what other people are telling you. And this
so you're saying what they intimately are thinking.
Right, and the thing about it is what's really...
And that's probably true.
Okay, but the thing about it is you can go to 5 different churches. You can hear 5 different sermons. You can have all these people there, and they're all going to walk away with, with whatever whatever the minister has preached. These have been taught like Sunday school, teachings for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the thing about it is your interpretation of the Bible has to go within the time that you are living. Jimmy Swaggart was a smart man when he said that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because here it is. Back in the day, years and years ago, all right, Christy, you would not been allowed to sing only in church. To go and sing anywhere else would have been a mortal sin. You probably would have been stoned to death or whatever the case may be.
I would have been stoned, I'm pretty sure. First day out, I would have got stoned.
But what I'm saying is now, back in those days, it's just like this. Here's another one. Back in the olden days, our grandparents used to dress modest. The women always dressed modest. The women wore dresses. They wore, and for a long time, the dresses were way below the knees. And as time got up, the dresses got a little higher and a little higher. But of course, my grandma said that was Satan doing that. But
See,
anyway,
my mom told me they did. My mom told me when she was growing up that they had like really, really short skirts, really short. You remember that?
I think I do. But see, I don't know. My mom and your mom are about the same age, so I couldn't really picture my mom wearing anything. My mom came from a strict Christian family, so I know for a fact that my mom's dresses were below her knees just a little, even as she got older. But the thing of what I'm
trying to tell me hers were, but I don't believe her.
my point, what I'm trying to make is now take a good look at what I just told you. As time goes by, okay, I think, and this is my theory, that the Bible has really changed the way that a lot of people see the Bible and how it was written. Now, I can use this as I really want you to hear this. One of the things is that when a person, I remember back when I was with my grandma, when I was little, they used to go calling, they call it, where you go to people's houses and you try to bring the Word of God to people. And one of the biggest things is as a young child, when my grandma read out of that book, I didn't understand a darn thing she was saying, but she scared the living hell out of me.
Yeah, that's not what Christ is about. That's like condemning. When you come to know the real Jesus, there's no condemning. But I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but that was because that's what she was taught.
Yeah.
And that's what she believed. And we cannot. God does not want us to judge her for the way she felt. Nowadays. Right. You know it. You know what I'm saying. It's the truth. Every time, it's like a lot of people say, well, the King James Bible is the only true word of God. It's the only book that you should be reading from. You don't want to read from any other Bible because the Bible has been rewritten, blah, 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 blah. I've heard so many Christians tell me that. And I come back with, do you know how many times that Bible has been rewritten? How many times that Bible has changed? How many words have changed in it? I studied biblical history. Maybe you need to study that before you start preaching out of the Bible, because it does change. There's
so much that people get confused about, and you hit a good point. one of the things that people get confused about is that they think that they have to follow all these rules. And it's like I was telling you on the phone. I think I was telling you. I might have been talking to somebody else. But it's like you're trying to follow the Ten Commandments. And you just can't. You cannot follow the Ten Commandments.
They're impossible.
You might break just one or a piece of one or whatever. You cannot follow it. So if you think you're good enough just off of you to get into heaven, you're arrogant.
Okay, have you ever, now I know you've seen this movie. Don't tell me you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, might not be a movie you want to watch now, but you should have watched. Have you ever seen
What is it?
The Devil's Advocate?
I have.
Okay, now remember when Al Pacino was talking to Keanu Reeves.
That had a good point.
He
was
said,
arrogant.
you can look, but you can't touch. You can do this, and you can't do this. He says there's no balance there. There's nothing there. And it almost, not to, and now believe me, Lord, I'm praying right now, I'm not on his side. But what I'm saying is, it makes perfectly good sense. If you listen to what he says, it's because that is what we've been taught in the Bible. And one of the biggest things that I am really, really,
it's a deception. And like, if you really look at the end of the movie, remember the very end of that movie, where he goes, vanity.
Yes.
It's his favorite sin.
Yep.
It's because of the vanity and his arrogance and our arrogance that we believe that we can offer God something, as if his precious sacrifice wasn't enough.
Well,
he's already given Jesus Christ.
Right, and that's why when people, to me, are like arrogant, they think so highly of themselves. They put themselves on such a high pedestal.
Like if I go to church every Sunday, sometimes I miss church. I want to go, but sometimes I miss church. Do you think God is like standing over me going, Christy, you know what? I'm just not going to love you anymore. He doesn't do that to people.
See,
never.
That's just like this question. Now, this is a real good question. I actually asked the minister this once. Believe it or not, I used to talk at churches about this. You're going to love this. All right. It says in the Bible that before the second coming of Christ, that before that can happen, that the Bible has to be taught in all four corners of the earth. Okay? And that means that every living soul on the earth will have knowledge and be given the chance to accept Jesus Christ as their Savior and go to heaven. And one day I was sitting there and I heard that and I go, wait a minute. What about, let me ask you this question. And I waited till after church and I talked to the minister. I said, I want to ask you a question. Let's just say hypothetically you have this chief who lives out in this jungle and he has had absolutely positively for hundreds and hundreds of years they've had no contact with the outside world. You bring in a group of missionaries and the missionaries say, let's say 100 years ago the missionaries say, hey, come, we're going to show you the Word of God. And the chief who's in control of everybody in that village says, no, we don't want your teachings. We have our own God. We pray to our own God. Okay? And let's just say 50 years later, another missionary comes in there and they ask a chief or if a new chief, who's ever, let us teach you the Word of God. And remember, he has control over all his own village. And he says, no, I don't want to bring you the Word of God. Let's just say we go in life and then we get the second coming of Christ. Because of these people's, this is what I asked him. I said, are you trying to tell me that every one of those people are going to go to hell because they didn't accept Lord Jesus as their Savior? And he said, yes. And I said, I think you're wrong. I cannot believe that our God would let people like that who never really knew. Who's to say that in their own way, in their own religion, that they are not praying to the same God? Even it doesn't matter.
That Jesus and Jesus is the Lord. I know that in His infinite love and it never runs out. His love. And then there's a song we sing at church. It's called your love never gives up. It never runs out on me.
But the question is,
I've got it. I've got the answer.
Okay.
But I think I do. Anyways, I can't say that I have the answer. I'm hoping that God has guided me the right way. Well, He always guides me the right way, but I hope I'm listening. From what I understand, is basically that we're born with the knowledge that there is God. God is always there.
Right.
And my dad has read about the Bible an awful lot too, and I asked him pretty much the same question, and he basically said that we were born with it. We know on the inside, and it doesn't. I don't think that people in another country say Jesus the same way. They may say it different. I'm not sure, but because I only know English. I even flunked Spanish, but we won't talk about that. But anyways, all I'm saying is I think that we know on the inside, and I think that Jesus never is going to give up. And He, even in death, I love God so much that I believe that even in death, He would pull you out of wherever you were at if you just called out. I believe that even in the pit of, you could be the worst person on earth.
Right.
And you could have done the worst thing, and the devil could be like, you're going to hell. He can take you straight up to heaven if you just call His name.
The thing about it is you did a good job. I would have to agree with most of that. But the biggest thing that I really get out of this whole, is when people talk about that. I really wish that, it's like, I really like these young youths who are out there and they're singing for the Lord. And I've had churches say, well, if it ain't the gospel, if it doesn't come out of the gospel, then you're not really, it's like Christian rock. Okay, Christian rock is Christian rock. And they say, if you play rock to some churches, they say, that is not what God wants you to play. Who in the heck gave them the God police?
Well, see, there's a lot of people who are worried more about, Christy's not doing this, Rob's not doing this, anybody's not doing this, you're not following the rules. You're not following the rules. There's strict rules, and if you don't follow them, you don't fit in. That is the devil. That is not Christ. Christ is really giving. And I don't think that they mean to be that way. I honestly don't. I'm not going to sit here and say that they do, because I think that they're just mistaken. I used to think I was going to go to hell if I just told a lie, because my mom will be like, you're going to go to hell. You just lied to me. And I would be like, oh, man, I am going to go to hell, So it used to bother me so bad until God told me, you don't have to try not to sin. You just trust me, and I'll keep you from doing it. Exactly. You don't have to try to be a good person. You trust me, and I'll make you a good person.
My grandma one time, this is a long time ago. This is probably when I was a teenager, and I actually had a talk with my grandma one time, and this is right after I had lost my daughter, and my grandma was, when my grandfather died, my grandma was miserable. She was never happy. She loved her husband, and she loved him and missed him so much, after he had passed away. But I remember, when I lost my daughter, and she was sitting there talking to me about, there's going to be a day that I'm going to get to see my daughter again. And I remember my grandma saying to me, she says, well, she goes, you got to do this. You got to change this. You got to change your life. If you want to see your daughter. And I actually sat down and talked to her one time, and I said, I'm sorry, but I despise God at this moment. I told my grandma that. And it's because I felt that God had taken my child away from me, And I resented him for.
I thought God was punishing me that because I went through all this horrible stuff, God must really, really hate me. And then
Right.
God's been showing me lately, oh, I really, really love you. And I'm going to show you that all this pain. And so
Right.
somebody who's going in pain right now, hold on, because God
Will.
obviously has something special. If you've gone through a lot, there's a great reward.
And I believe that to be true because I'm going to say something. The night that my daughter had died, and I remember my wife at the time, she was out and down in the house, and we'd actually came back. She never got, it's like she never got an opportunity to really, this baby came into her life, and it was a beautiful baby. And I just couldn't understand. And I remember she was resting, and I went outside, and I held it together for so long because I wanted to be strong for her. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember, like, I walked out, and there was like this. My mom lived up in like the dunes, sand dunes and stuff like that, and she lived in a village kind of like deal. And I walked through the woods, and I was standing on this ridge, and I was looking down over to some sand dunes and the woods and everything. And I remember falling to my knees, And I'm going to tell you, that was the night I knew that God existed. And because I just cried out, and I said, why would you do this? Why would you take this child away? And I said, I just need to know, is my baby with you? Is this all worth it for me to, what is it? And it may call it a coincidence. I don't care what you call it. But to this day, when I see a shooting star, I saw a shooting star go across the sky right in front of me. And I knew my daughter was okay.
Well, what about, remember when you had, it's not just a coincidence either, because remember you had Brad Henley on, and he was talking about his loss of his child, and you know what that feels like.
Yes.
And so God uses your experiences to comfort someone else.
Right. And it was, even though I believed in God, it took me a while to really give everything. And I can tell you the day it happened, and it was just like, there was this girl who I was working with. I owned a production company, and and here I am. I discovered, not I didn't discover, but there was this one girl. She was very young, and she had a voice, and it was just beautiful, and she was very talented, and so I wanted my production company to be able to have the opportunity to be able to promote this beautiful person. And there's a little bit of tragedy that happened in the family, and her sister died tragic in a very tragic accident. And I was at their house, and I remember one day they lived on a lake. And I was actually sleeping on the couch, and the moon was coming through the front window, and I seen this girl come walking with a little book in her hand, and she got down in front of the fireplace, and she put her hands together, and she started praying, and I don't know what did it, but I thought that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And she didn't cry. She knew her sister was somewhere else, But the thing of what got me was one day I remember I was going through my first divorce, and she said, I was angry, and I'll never forget these words, what she said. She goes, Robert, she goes, you're too nice of a guy to have that much hate. God doesn't want you to hate people like that. God doesn't want you to do that. And it was probably a day after that I gave everything to God. I wanted to live, I wanted to be like that. And I'm telling you, my life turned around. I started working with, some really good Christian bands. I worked with Petra. I worked with Amy Grant, Michael W. Smith, Kim Hill, DC Talk. I worked with a lot of well-known Christian bands, and my life was complete. And then, of course, I took a freaking detour, and the whole thing went away. Just saying.
Yeah, but somehow I don't think that he ever leaves. I was sitting back and, drinking some beer and being like, praise the Lord, and like, I was not a hypocrite. God just said, you're saved. And then he said, this problem you have, because I took you where you were at, I'll get rid of this.
It takes a while.
He got rid of it.
Yep, and it takes a while. And the thing about it, what was really cool is I remember, it really, when I became one, with God, was with my daughter. Because when my wife walked out on me and left me with my daughter, she didn't leave me with the daughter. She just walked out. I was with my daughter, and I raised my daughter, and I'm telling you, that right there, I didn't feel the hurt and pain I did from my first marriage. I didn't feel the hurt and pain that I did when... It
definitely doesn't hurt as bad.
No.
I mean, physically, and then it hurt him more physically back, but, It doesn't hurt as bad as the first love, the first marriage. God really wants people to be married one time, and if you haven't got it right the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time, he's still like, keep I still have hope for you.
Right. But the thing about it is here's the greatest thing, is that through our lives we have all grown up, and we have seen a trail that if you go back and like tonight and you're listening to the show, which you probably will because you're like me, I'll go back and I'll listen to this. One of the greatest things I remember most is to be a Christian. If you surround yourself with other Christians, like me and you working together, and me and Connie working together, and me and Buster Mathis working together, all these people with Joe Ganella, all these people that I'm surrounding myself with are good people. Yeah. And I feel more blessed, you know what I'm saying? And then, we try, right now, you and I, we're not going to say who it is, but right now you and I are, working with a good friend. And we're trying to help, And
I truly think that he is saved, forgiven, but he's heartbroken.
Right.
Heartbreak is a hard thing to get over.
It can change you. And the thing about it is we being...
So you can't see the full glory. I'm sorry, right. I'm interrupting.
No, you're good. Well, you're good with that because you're definitely a Southern girl. But anyway, put your hands on your hips and start screaming. And I'd probably feel at home. But the thing about it is we, as people, we also have to trust, and they have to trust that we're there for them. We have to trust. It's just like, I really want to talk about something, and this is something that I've talked to you about. Connie O'Brien is one of these people who I've known for quite a while, and I trust everything about her. And she's a pistol, though. She is a pistol, but that's because that's the way she is. Right. But she is the most gracious, most unbelievable person you're ever going to meet in your life. And, I felt the need to do something, and I did it. And I did it for a reason, and Connie helped me out with it, and it worked great. Well, one of the things that really, what's really good is that these are the type of people who you want to surround yourself with. You don't want to have any negativity, And I've seen this woman do some very selfless acts.
She's gonna get you. You said selfish. I'm a typer.
No, don't tell her. That's all I need to do is have her keep me up all night.
She's gonna post another video. You're gonna be in trouble. Connie, I'm on your side.
No, don't be on her side. No, that's not fair. That's not fair to me. But
okay, I'll be nice. I'm kidding.
Okay, well, you got me worried now. Now I'm gonna have to go talk to Jody now. So anyway, the great thing is that I have a great friend, and it's you, and it's Bo, it's Chris, it's Connie, it's Jody.
They're all wonderful people. I actually got to talk to Chris just yesterday, and we had, for the first time, a personal conversation with him, and got to know, who he is and all this stuff. And he's just an incredible person, and he's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of times the hardest thing, and this is, trust me, this is one of the hardest things for me ever, is not to, say, somebody's not where you're at in their Christian walk, or it doesn't look like they're at the same place as you. It's so easy to, maybe pass judgment or
right.
something like that, or me to pass judgment on somebody for judging somebody. It's hilarious because then it starts I'm judging you because you're judging somebody, and it's so funny. But we do that as humans. It's so simple. God's like, Christy, you're making everything difficult because all you have to do is trust that God is going to take care of the people that you love. You pray for it, it comes.
Right.
And pray for it one time and leave it be, because God took care of it the day you asked Him. It may not look like it's coming, but it is.
Right.
I mean, the same way that I'm standing here or sitting here talking to you about Jesus is proof that anybody can change.
That's it. And this is where and this is the most important message right now, what I'm about to say. And you and I talked about it. You can sit there, you can walk the walk, you can talk the talk, you can put a blind over people's eyes. But if
you can do that.
If you do not really feel it in your heart and you have not given God everything, it's not going to work. You just can't say it. You have to do it. And one of the things is it's just like that night I was telling you about, when I fell to my knees and I screamed out,
Yeah, this is just one of the, I agree with you, Rob. I know what you're saying, because this is just one of those things that you just don't, it's like the Bible says, if you got a candlestick, you don't put it underneath the bed. You just want to run and share it with the next person.
Right.
It's better than the drugs. It's better than the alcohol. You get to do your dreams, and He gives you more dreams on top of that than blessings on top of your blessings.
Well, you got that right.
And He makes everything happen.
Well, that's just like with Jody. It's the same thing with Jody.
She's so wonderful. I love her.
She's like, to me, it's like, I really in my mind sometimes wonder why the hell she's with a bum like me. Yeah, and it's because she tells me every single day she loves me. She takes care of me when I'm feeling bad. She wakes up in the middle of the night just to see if I'm breathing.
And she makes you cinnamon rolls.
Yes,
that you
she
ask
does.
for on Facebook.
And I do. And she's such a sweet. And, it's just like, I hear you and Bo together. And there's that togetherness. There's no strain. There's no, it's like, of course, I'm sure you guys have your arguments.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty feisty. You know that.
And I'm sure that, you can be sure that me and Jody have our arguments. Everybody does. But the one thing I tell you, I learned is how much I really love that woman. And I bet you feel the same way about Bo. It's because
I do. Actually, this will be the first time that I'm actually telling anybody that Bo and I are together.
Ah.
So yeah.
Well, now he's gonna come home. He's gonna look at you. What? You said my name on the air. No, just kidding. But I'm just saying.
No, he loves me. We've been working together, and the thing is, when a dear friend just asked me. She said, "How is it that with finding the right man? How do you do that?" And I was like, well, you got to just let it all down to God. She's a very Christian woman.
Right.
And, I said, maybe what you and your, all of us, and not in her, but all of us, in our selfishness, in our own wanting and just, me, I'm like, used to be, it's like I'm just going to find the best looking guy, bodybuilder, whatever, that I can find. And then they wind up being horrible to me.
Right.
And I told her, I said, look at what Christ would want for you. And let God pick out your mate. And that's what you've got with Jody. Is that perfect mate.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you. You hit the nail on the head.
She's beautiful. She's incredible. She's so kind and good. And I can see Christ in her. She doesn't even have to speak about Christ. I just know she has it.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love her so much. And we're getting ready to wrap up here, and one of the biggest things is I feel very honored to have you on the show, my first show, and I really
think
hope
it was pretty good. I loved it.
Well, I did too. I enjoyed being in the company with you. And next week we got another renowned psychic. Is Pamela Nine's going to be on with me next week.
All right. And I'll be listening to your next show.
Yep. And then after...
Hopefully she's listening to ours, too. I hope so.
Well, I don't know. She's pretty snobbish sometimes. No, I'm just kidding, Pam.
Oh,
no.
Man, that's not very nice.
But we are going to have, after Pamela, then we're going to have Tony Wilkes. And then we're going to have Buster Mathis Jr.
See, I got to talk to him. You let me talk to him. So, Buster, if you're listening, that meant so much to me that you even talked to me. So, I'm just saying hi to him.
Yeah, he likes your music, that's for sure.
I know, he told me, and I was like, really?
Of course, after last night's little love affair between two people, it kind of made me... him sending his new girlfriend a song and her singing him a song, and it's like... That's
romantic.
Man, not on my show.
Give them a break. That was nice.
I gotta make fun of them. They're so great. But
that was cute. I liked your music that you sent to Jody.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I had it turned up loud.
Oh, I forget which one it was. Oh, 38 Special. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
right. You like 38 Special.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I do want to thank you for taking the time and being on the show. You can see, if you want to find Christy Baker, you can go to her website. You can go to www.christybakermusic.com. You can also look for her on Twitter. What's your Twitter?
iTunes. Don't forget, we're on iTunes now.
I was going to get to that if you would have let me.
I'm sorry. I'll let you do your job now. Here, you go ahead.
But anyway, no. Go ahead and tell everybody that you're on iTunes. Let's get it out the door. Come on now.
Okay, but I already said it.
I know.
I'm
She's
on
so
iTunes.
excited. Look at that. I'm on iTunes. Come and join me.
I'm pretty excited. We just got to talk about one of my favorites, pretty much my favorite subject, which is God. So
yeah.
Now iTunes. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Amazon MP3,
yeah.
Spotify, and Google Play Music. But pretty shortly, it's going to be on, I think, at the iHeartRadio, somewhere in there. And then I believe Xbox Live Music as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's distributed to a bunch of them. So
we're gonna take you to iHeart.
A lot of countries.
I guarantee it. We're taking you to iHeart. GHTR GHTR is going to take you to iHeart. Yes, that's my goal. Yep, this year is going to be. We're actually already talking with Clear Channel right now. They're interested. So, yeehaw, man, you're gonna be floating it, man. So, again, thanks a lot for being on the show. I want to thank everybody for listening, and like I said, I'll be back next week, we're going to be having a lot of new shows starting up here pretty soon. I am going to try to I want to interview Brenda. and I really want to do it. And I think I'm going to have to do it off air. We won't have to do live. We'll have to do maybe a remote, but because I'll have to be sitting on top of her while I'm talking to her. So, it's hard to nail her down. But I want to thank her, and I want to thank, you. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Connie, Chris, Jody, everybody who's helped me to get here and to be successful in this whole...
And thank you, too. I appreciate y'all have been a blessing. And Brenda, I love you. We're going to drag you on stage one of these days or on the air. I can't wait.
All right,
to actually get to talk to you on the air, and thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, she is definitely our savior. So, all right, again, thanks a lot, and I will see you guys next week. Good night.
All right, good night.
You're listening to GHPR, Nationwide Podcast Radio, www.ghtalkradio.com.